talk to him that much. All right, today is Wednesday the 23rd. We're going to do warm-up first. I'm going to go over estimating roots in our booklet, and then we're going to do simplifying roots, after which we do some practice. You need to make sure that you have everything submitted. Okay, I'm going to pause for the calls. All right, let's look at the warm-up. All right, so the warm-up, it says find the value of x. Okay, this is x to the third power here. Okay, so in order to get rid of the third power, the opposite or the inverse of cubing a number is cube root. This is how you write. This is the symbol for cube root. That means what number can be multiplied times itself 2 other times, which is 3, to give you the number that's under the radical. So we're going to find the cube root on both sides. What variable can be multiplied times itself 3 times basically to give you x to the third? X. Okay? X times x times x is equal to x to the third. X can be multiplied times itself 3 times to give you x to the third. So the cube root of x to the third power is just x. Now we're going to find the cube root of 27 and the cube root of 216. All right? So we got to think of what one number can be multiplied times itself 2 other times, a total of 3, to give you 27. Can anybody think of a number that can be multiplied times itself 2 other times, a total of 3, to give you 27? 9 times 9 times 9 is not 27. 3. 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and then 9 times 3 is 27. So that is true. So the cube root of 27 is 3. Okay, let's look at the cube root of 216. What one number can be multiplied times itself 2 other times? We write it 3 times to give you 216. Come on, think, please. Somebody said 7. Somebody said 72. No, 72 times 72 is definitely not going to give you that. See, it's got to be a small number. 72 times 72 times 72. It's times, babe. 6. Okay, 6 times 6 times 6. That gives you 216. 6 times 6 times 6 gives you 216. So 6 is on the bottom. All right. Now let's reduce this. How do we reduce it? What one number will go into both numbers besides 1? That's not going to change anything. 3. Okay. What's 3 divided by 3? 1. What's 6 divided by 3? 2. So this is our answer reduced. I'm going to pause to give you a chance to write. All right. I'm going to show you how to type cube root in the calculator. So to type cube root in the calculator, the first button you press is the math button. Math is right here. It's right under the green alpha button. Press the math. And then you go down to cube root, which is number 4. And then you can type in 27. Enter. And the cube root of 27 is 3. I'm going to do again. Math, number 4, and that's 216. The cube root of 216 is 6. Any questions about how to type in cube root? Math button and number 4. 8. The cube root of 8 is 2. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Okay. All right, so let's look at the second problem. Sean bought 64 bags of dirt to completely fill the cube-shaped flower bed. Okay, each bag fills 1 cubic unit in the garden, the flower garden. What is the length? Okay, so we know that a cube means that all the edges have the same measurement. So the formula for volume of a cube, because we're talking about volume here, the length, the width, and the depth, how deep it is. The formula for volume of a cube is V is equal to S to the third power. S to the third power. This is volume of a cube. All the sides have the same, all the edges or the sides have the same measure when it's a cube. So it's S to the third power. The length, the width, and the depth are the same measurement. So you can say S to the third power since all of those measurements are the same. Now you're going to substitute 64 because that's the volume of the flower bed that's in the shape of a cube. So we plug in 64. And now we're going to figure out what each side length is. It's asking for each side. So we need to figure out what is S. Remember, I just told you here, this is the same type of equation where you have a variable to the third power. The opposite of cubing a number or a variable to the third power is to cube root it. So we're going to cube root both sides to get rid of S to the third power there. So now we need to do the cube root of 64. Remember, how do I type in, or what number can be multiplied times itself 2 other times, total of 3, to give you 64? Okay, 4. So here, look, if I type that in, math, number 4, and I type in 64, that gives me 4. Okay, that means that 4 times 4 times 4 is equal to 64. So 4 is your answer on this side. So each side length is 4 feet. S to the third power, the cube root of that is just S. Why? Because S times S times S is equal to S to the third power. So each one of these side lengths is 4. And I'll pause to give you a chance to write. Do y'all have any questions? Anybody still copying? You are? Okay, I'll pause again. All right, so take out this from yesterday, please. Yesterday, yes. Yesterday, I gave you this packet. I told you, this booklet, sorry. And I told you that I'm going to give you a quiz on multiplying 1 through 12. So you're going to see, and it's going to be time. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2. 3 times 3. 4 times 4. 5 times 5. 6 times 6. 7 times 7. 8 times 8. 9 times 9. 10 times 10. 11 times 11. 12 times 12. 13 times 13. 14 times 14. 15 times 15. You need to know these by heart. So please study those. These are the ones you need to know. These multiplication facts. And I'm going to mix them up. They're not going to be in order, okay? We're going into class. Thank you, babe. All right. So we already did this part. We did this yesterday. I told you to finish this part up on your own. Please make sure this is complete. Please make sure that this part is complete so we can move on to simplifying. I'm going to pause for the call so we can go to the restroom real quickly. We do need to make this a quick transaction. Let's line up, please. All right, let's check these to make sure that you got these correct. All right, please watch. Don't just copy. Please make sure you understand what you're doing. Let's look at this one, square root of 130. Watch what I do. I'm going to look at my perfect squares. And I'm going to see where it was the square root of 130. Where does it fall between the perfect squares? It's not between 0 and 1. 130 is not between 1 and 4. 130 is not between 4 and 9. 9 and 16. 16 and 25. 25 and 36. 36 and 49. 49 and 64. 64 and 81. 81 and 100. 100 and 121. But it is between 130. Is between 121 and 144. So it's between those two perfect squares. 121 and 144. Okay, is 130 closer to 121 or is it closer to 144? 121. So what is the square root of 121 equal to? 11. So we're going to round 130 since it's closer to this. We're going to round it to about 11. The squiggly lines is about 11. This is our answer. We're rounding it to 11. Questions? The square root of 3. What two perfect squares is the square root of 3 in between?
1 and 4.
1 and 4. The square root of 1 and the square root of 4. Is 3 closer to 1 or closer to 4? It's closer to 4, okay? What's the square root of 4?
2.
2. So we're going to say that this is about 2. It's closer to the whole number 2. The square root of 32. What two perfect squares, somebody different please, what two perfect squares is the square root of 32 in between? 25 and 36. So we got 25 and we got 36. Very good. Is 32 closer to 25 or is it closer to 36? It's closer to 36. What's the square root of 36 equal to? 6. So this is equal to, we're going to round it to about 6. $8.7. What two perfect squares is 8.7 between? 4 and 9. 4 and 9. You okay? Bless you, baby. All right. Which one is 8.7 closest to? Is it closest to 4 or is it closest to 9? What's the square root of 9 equal? 3. Please cover your stomach, baby. So this is going to be about 3. About 3, okay? Any questions about that? I'm going to pause. Make sure that you have it, please. Are there any questions? All right. Let's go to simplifying square roots. When you're simplifying square roots, you leave it as a radical. So basically, simplifying roots means you're just reducing the root, like you would have reduced a fraction. You're not writing it as a decimal, you're just reducing it to another radical. Okay? So basically, you're reducing the radical. Because you're leaving it in radical form. You're going to leave it in radical form, square root. So you're just reducing it. All right, so now we're going to do some steps. I'm going to pause to give you a chance to write. Okay, good people. I'm going to do the examples that are on this page. I'm going to do a couple, and then you're going to do the others on your own. All right, so let's do square root 96. So your first step is to draw a factor tree. When you draw a factor tree, you think, what two numbers can be multiplied to give you a 96? Okay, what two numbers can be multiplied together to give you a 96? Yeah, go ahead. What two numbers can be multiplied to give you 96? When you multiply, think about it. When you multiply 9, what's 9 times 7? That's 63. We're looking for 96. Not a second. And 48 and 48. 48 times 48 is a big number. 48 times 48. What two numbers can be multiplied to give me 96? Okay. So 96 is a even number. So divide it by 2 to see what can be multiplied. And it's 48. 2 times 48. 2 is a prime number because it only has 2 factors, one in itself. So circle it. So don't forget, circle all prime numbers. Circle all prime numbers. Draw your factor tree. You're going to circle all prime numbers. Bless you. So now let's break down 48 because it's composite. It's not prime. What two numbers can be multiplied to give me 48? And can't use one. What is it? 24 and what? Okay, so if I divide by 2, because it is another even number, 24. So we got 2 times 24. I'm going to circle 2 because, again, 2 is prime. It only has 2 factors, 1 in itself. You cannot use 1 in a factor tree. So let's break down 24. It's composite. That means it has more than 2 factors. What two numbers can be multiplied to give me 24? 6 times 4. Both of these numbers are composite. That means it has more than 2 factors. What two numbers can be multiplied to give me 6? I can't. What'd you say, baby? 6. 3 times 2. Circle both 3 and 2 because both 3 and 2 are prime. They only have 2 factors. What about 4? 2 times 2. So now I have my factor tree with all my prime numbers circled. So my second step, after I do that, I'm going to rewrite all of my circled numbers or my prime numbers under the radical sign. Yes. Right here, tree. So we're rewriting all prime numbers under the radical sign, and we're going to write them from least to greatest, okay? So let's do that. Under the factor tree, under the radical. I'm sorry, y'all. The smallest circled number, or the smallest prime number, is 2. How many 2's do you have? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mark them out. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And what else is left? 3 times 3. If I was to remultiply these numbers out, I would get 96. If I remultiply 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 3, I get 96. This is the prime factorization for 96. So that's my second step. Step 3, since it's square root, we're going to circle all pairs. Circle numbers that repeat twice. We're talking about square, so we circle all pairs. And we take out one number for each pair. Okay. So let's circle all the pairs. We have a pair of 2s. That's one pair of 2s. 2 pair of 2s. Do we have any other pairs? No. So now we're going to take out 1, 2 for this pair and 1, 2 for this pair. Leave all other numbers under the radical. Okay. The numbers that you take out, multiply those numbers together. The number that is left under the radical, multiply those together. So last step, multiply all the numbers you take out together. Multiply all the numbers you take out together. Yes. Pair. Multiply the numbers you take out together and multiply the numbers left under the radical together. So your final answer, what's 2 times 2? 4. Square root of, what's 2 times 3? 6. Okay? So your reduced radical for the square root of 96 is 4 the square root of 6. Jaden, sit up, please. I'm going to pause for the calls, give you a chance to write, okay? All right, so now let's look at this sheet. We've already did this one. Remember, the answer here is 4 the square root of 6. And if I type this in, look, the square root of 96, second x squared 96 is equal to this decimal. 4 square root 6 is equal to the exact same number because this is the reduced form of this radical. They are exactly the same. Yes. Can you come get one, please? Anybody else not have this sheet? All right. So let's do this one. What two numbers can be multiplied to give me 216? What times what? 216 is an even number. So divide the C by 2. 216 divided by 2, what does that give me? 108. So we got 2 times 108. Circle the 2 because it's prime. Sorry, 108. Let's break down 108, which is also an even number, divided by 2. And that gives you 2 and what? 54. Yeah, it's not right. Sorry. So now let's break down 54. 54 is an even number, so divide it by 2. And what does that give you? 2 times 27. Break down 27 to what? Come on, what two numbers can be multiplied to give me 27? Somebody said it. 9 times 3. And then lastly, 9 is what? 3 times 3. So now we're going to write all of the numbers under the radical from least to greatest. What's the smallest circled number? And how many of them?
3.
So that's 2. Mark this one out. Times 2. Times 2. And then next comes the 3s. How many 3s are there? 3 3s. 1, 2, 3. So now we're looking for numbers that repeat twice. We're looking for pairs because this is square root. Square meaning 2. Do we have any twins or pairs?
2.
We have a pair of 2s and what else? A pair of 3s. So we're going to take out 1, 2, or one number for each pair. So we take out 1, 2 for this pair. We take out 1, 3 for this pair. And leave all the other numbers under the radical. Okay? What's under the radical? What's left? 2 times 3. What do I do last? What's the last thing I do? Multiply them together. What does this give me on the outside? 6. What about the inside? 6. So my answer is 6, the square root of 6. This is the reduced answer for the square root of 216. So if I type in the square root of 216, that gives me, this is a decimal, and I type in 6, the square root of 6, it gives me the exact same answer. Any questions? 98. What two numbers can be multiplied to give me 98? It's an even number, so divided by 2.
2 and 49.
Very good. Divided by 2, it's 2 and 49. So we got 2 times 49. Circle 2 because it's prime. What about 49? What two numbers will give you 49? 7 times what? 7. Circle 7. Christian, sit up. Make sure you write this down.
You said 27? What's that?
7 times 7 is 47. That's okay. 49, sorry. It's right here. All right. Under the radical, what am I going to write? 2 times what? Times 7 times 7. Now we're going to look for pairs, numbers that repeat twice. Do we have any pairs? The 7. We have one pair of 7. How many 7s we're going to take out for that one pair? Just 1 7. What's left under the radical? 2. So this is my answer. Questions about that one? Right? Kylie, sit up, please. Let's look at square root of 18. What two numbers can be multiplied to give me 18? 2 and 9. I circled 2 because 2 is prime. 9 is composite. I can break it down some more. What two numbers will give you 9? 3 times 3. I circle the 3's because they are prime. What am I going to write under the radical? 2 times 3 times 3. All your circled numbers. Now what am I going to look for? Pairs. Do we have any pairs? 3 times 3. How many pairs do we have? One pair of 3's, right? How many 3's do I take out? 1 for this one pair. What's left under the radical? 2. Just the 2. This is my answer. Are y'all okay? Soshi, are you okay? You sure? Okay, at this time, I want you to work on submitting makeup work if you have it. If you don't have makeup work to submit, I need you to finish this. I'm going to check your planner. When I call your name, I want to see your planner so I can put your grade in. Questions, comments, or concerns? Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here. If you need to watch it again, you can watch it again. Don't forget that all the videos are on Canvas, and I send them to you in Remind as well, okay?